Well, this morning we have the delight to have Reverend Aliza Bloom Robison back with us. Thank you for coming and being a part of our worship service today. And your topic is get outside your comfort zone. Are you going to put the squirm in the worm? Aliza is an author, speaker, and an ordained Unity minister. And she's the new voice for a new humanity, or the voice for a new humanity. And I'm real interested in hearing more about that. And she also is an authoress and has several books that she has had published, and you can find those on Amazon. So welcome, Aliza. We're always grateful to have you join us.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. Happy to be here. Oh, is it my turn?
You're on, yes.
Oh my gosh, I missed that cue.
Sorry.
Can we try it again?
Okay. Welcome, Aliza. You're on.
All right. Thank you. So there were two frogs. They weren't worms, but we're going to put the squirm in the worm. I love that. Thank you, Doug. There were two frogs who were hopping down the middle of the road. And one frog got tired of being in that same old rut, so he jumped out. This liberated frog encouraged his friend to do the same. But the other frog, he'd learned to tolerate the rut life. He was very comfortable there. He also felt the walls were too high for him to jump out. But all of a sudden, a big truck came towards him. The truck's tires were right in the same rut as the forlorn frog was in. That frog had an aha moment. Gathering his resolve and his strength, frog easily jumped out of the rut. The rut can also be known as our comfort zone. And one of the ways to realize the preciousness of each and every moment of this life that we have on this amazing, brilliant planet is to get outside of your rut, outside of your comfort zone, outside of that which you always think and do and feel and believe and behave. So the thing about comfort zones is they're very comfortable. They start by simple routines. A routine is not a bad thing, but it's only when your comfort zone begins to be a rut that I want to encourage you today to jump out of it. So think about some of those routines and how many of those are comfort zones. And this is not about judgment. This is about curiosity. So I want to really activate in you a childlike sense of innocence and curiosity as I put the squirm in the worm. I'm going to keep saying that. Thank you, Doug. So we have routines like how we get up in the morning, how we brush our teeth, how we do our coffee, how we do our morning routine. We have our routines about how we go to the grocery store. We have our routines about how we do dinners. We have our routines. And a routine causes the body, the brain actually to relax because it's known, because it's comfortable, because it's familiar. So you can change up those routines, and that would be a way to change up and step outside your comfort zone. But really what I want to encourage us to do is to get out of the comfort zone of where your consciousness is. We just got back from a whole month of traveling. We were 4 weeks in Europe. And part of my intention in that trip, it was an amazing, brilliant trip. We were in Bermuda and Portugal and Spain and Austria. And for a lot of that trip, well, I would say most of it, actually, we were totally outside of our comfort zone. We were definitely outside of our routines. right? We were outside. We stepped away, consciously stepped away. We stepped away from the news. We stepped away from Facebook. We stepped away. We stepped away so we could totally immerse in this travel. And we weren't really conscious of where our comfort zones were. But it's interesting as I'm looking at presenting this talk, as I'm looking at back at our trip, and looking at the places that we created comfort for ourselves inside the unfamiliar. And one of the things that I wanted to share was on our very last day, we were flying from Vienna back to London to get to Chicago, to get to Phoenix, to get to Arkansas. Well, we had a week between Phoenix and Arkansas. But on that first flight, it was British Airlines, and they spoke English. And I felt my whole body go, ah, familiar. And I laughed out loud. And my husband said, why are you laughing? I said, I just had a visceral reaction to English speaking people. And that caused me to realize how far out of our comfort zone we were. We were, the language, especially in Austria, was German, not Germany German, which was very interesting, but a different dialect, a much softer dialect than what I thought of as Germany German. But at any rate, we were in cultures that were unfamiliar. We were in languages that were unfamiliar. We were in places. We were with people that were all completely unfamiliar. But here's what I discovered. People are people. And people all, generally speaking, are good and kind and generous. And people, generally speaking, all people, generally speaking, want the same thing. They want their family, they want their friends, they want love, they want connection, they want to provide for their family. They want safety in a way that is secure for them. And beyond that is bonus, right? So we spent a lot of time in cafes and just watching people. And it was so good for us, because even here, we go to a restaurant, we have this outdoor cafe that's got the deck over the water of the lake we live on, and we sit there and we watch people a little bit, but this was a totally different way to do it. So I wanted to play with this idea of comfort zone. So by definition, comfort zone is a zone of safety. It's a psychological place. It's a place where you are in control and where you experience the least amount of stress. So that sounds brilliant, right? And it can become a routine and a rut because it becomes an addictive place to live. Now, I'm not talking about now brushing your teeth, right? Necessarily, but look at where you are, how your life is, and where the comfort zones are. But the magic place, the sweet spot, is not to dismantle the comfort zone, but to step beyond it just a little bit beyond it, because that creates, and again, a psychological term, the optimal, that's not the right word, the optimal amount of anxiety. It's a little bit because it's unfamiliar. But in spirituality, in consciousness, and Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot, as soon as you're out of the familiar, you're into a realm of possibilities. So you go too far out and your body, you'll be too stressed. You'll go into fight or flight or freak out or freeze, right? So you just step out a little ways. You just push the edges of your comfort zone a little ways. And then you continue evolving. We are ever evolving. Humanity is ever evolving. And we are here to experience more. There is always more than you know. There's more love, there's more connection, there's more abundance, there's more beauty, there's more creativity. There's always more than you know. And as an ever evolving human, don't you want to continue evolving? Because you know what the opposite of evolving is? Contracting. right? So when we consciously stay aware of evolving by doing new things that are outside of our comfort zone, we're keeping our brain alive. We're keeping our brain active. And when we get too comfortable, and some of us we get too comfortable, but the comfortable then becomes familiar. And so, maybe it's a relationship, or maybe it's finances, or maybe it's health, or maybe it's routines, and it gets a little uncomfortable. We call that divine discontent. And that's simply a call to do something different. So in brain science, in the brain chemistry, the rut, the zone of comfort, is in the reptilian brain. And the reptilian brain governs our heart rate, our breathing, our lungs, our digestion, all of those things. It also is where we can drive a car, right? Or we can go through a routine where we know something like the back of our hand. So it's not a bad thing, right? But it's also where we can find the subconscious, the patterns, the programs, the places that we believe or think, or the programs that I think I already said that we operate unconsciously in. In brain development, then there came the limbic brain, which is our emotional response. Let's activate emotion. Let's activate and name the emotions that we're feeling, the good and the bad, all of it. And then there was the development of what we call the neocortex. And that's where you have rational thinking, where you have consciousness, where you have language, even in the initial whatever, birth of human. Basically, the neocortex was beginning to be formed. And so it's activating the neocortex and keeping that alive by doing new things. Back to Joe Dispenza, he says, every time you're out of the familiar, you have access to the unknown. Now, many of us go, well, I don't want the unknown. But in the place of the unknown, in the place of access to that, is infinite possibilities, unlimited potential. Everything is possible. And Neil Donald Walsh says, it's outside your comfort zone that life begins. Outside your comfort zone that life begins. So simply put, if we stay in our comfort zone, we put our brain on autopilot, which again isn't necessarily bad, but when the brain is on autopilot doing the same things every single day, the brain comes into the habit and the rut and the routine and begins to fall asleep. Well, we don't want our brains to fall asleep because we are ever evolving till our last day on the planet. And there's simple ways to get outside your comfort zone. Everything that you want, everything that you desire is outside your comfort zone. Your health, your relationships, your finances, peace, justice, everything. So my challenge to you today is to begin to step outside your comfort zone with the idea that what else is there that I don't already know? Because what I know to be true is there's always more. There's always more to know, to see, to experience, to be. I believe in the new humanity. And the new humanity is lots of names for it. Christ consciousness, if you will, second tier, if you know spiral dynamics, birthing a new reality, if you're a follower of Barbara Marx Hubbard, a decade or more ago when she was still on the planet. But I believe that there's a dimension of consciousness that's being birthed right now. And I believe that we are turning out the world. Now you can look at the media and you go, oh, how in the world are we going to get through this? I don't know how, but I know we are. I believe in the brilliance, the innovation, the collaboration, the beauty of what we call next dimension consciousness. I believe that it's time to do the work. And one way is to get out of the comfortable, the familiar, to get out of making people wrong, to get out of our judgment, to get out of our worry and our fear and our anxiety about what it looks like. And when we do that, we can step into the realm of new possibilities, potentials, and experiences of oneness. This is the center for universal oneness. Isn't that what we're about? I believe it's already happening. And it's time to just look and see and discover it. So why would we do that? Well, we're ever evolving. Good exercise for the brain, builds tolerance for change, and it helps make that positive change. So the spiritual payoff for getting outside your comfort zone, there's always more than you know. Or ever evolving. And if we're not evolving, well, you can imagine. And we're here to turn the world out, not to be a victim for it, or victim of it, I guess. So how? Remember that there's a sweet spot. You don't have to go very far outside your comfort zone to impact positive change. Stretching a little, right? In consciousness, in thought, in belief, in physicality, in mental, in emotion, stretch a little bit. That stretching keeps your body, mind, heart, soul, spirit awake, active, and growing. So we discovered on our journeys, I should say, I discovered a great love for the unknown. Not knowing anything, I found comfort in the sameness of people, in the beauty of the world, in the possibilities that were opened up to me by this journey. We discovered new foods that we loved and that we didn't love so much. In Portugal, I forgot the name of it, but oh my gosh, they have these pastries that are like the country's known for. They are exquisite. We had to try them again and again and again and again and again to make sure we actually really loved them. How's that for rationalization, right? Of eating too many pastries. And we discovered that we don't like port. Now, my husband doesn't drink, so I had to have his samples too. And 4 samples later, I still don't like port. So, lots of experiences. It's where outside the comfort zone, it's where the magic lives, where the miraculous and the brilliance happens. It's the place where you become willing to be surprised and looking forward to being surprised. So there's some things that you can do, simple things, specific things that you can do to step outside your comfort zone. Travel, if you can, right? If you can't travel globally, then go to a different grocery store, go to a different coffee shop, go to a different restaurant with the intention of a new experience. Take a different route, right? Go down a different street, mix up your routine with adaptations, try new meals, try a new hobby. Part of our trip was a cruise, and I started watercoloring. Now I'm one of those people that has said since I was 5 up until like last month that I'm not an artist and I can't do art. And oh my gosh, never, no. No. Well, I started doing some watercolor and I found out, I don't know if I'm good at it yet, but I found out I loved it. So I'm going to take that up. I'm going to continue to stretch by doing something new. Now, some of the things I was doing, my husband, who was an artist, is an artist, but hasn't done art for many years, he kept saying, wow, that's really good. How'd you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I had no fear because I was just experimenting, right? Put on that mindset when you go do something new. Talk to people who are different than you. Not to find out why you're right and why they're wrong, but with the intention of connecting with a human being. Part of what we see on the planet, I think part of the problem that we're in, the why we stay here, is because we're so polarized. But if you talk to a person, you will find a commonality. Maybe it's that they love their family and you love yours. Maybe it's that their eyes are blue and yours are blue. Maybe it's that they like chocolate ice cream and you do too. Like, let it be simpler. Because the more that we connect with ourselves, spirit, and people who are not like us, the quicker the world will turn out. Because as people connect, some of this stuff that we're seeing, the wars and the polarities and the right wrong and the right left and all of that stuff will eventually have to dissipate. Will it dissipate in our lifetime? Maybe, maybe not. But it doesn't matter because we're doing what we're here to do. Take time to simply sit and listen to the world. I heard recently, just in the last couple of days, that HeartMath is now, all know HeartMath, right? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But now they're saying that we can perceive another person's heartbeat, that our heart hears and recognizes another person's heartbeat. Take that on for a minute. Reminded me, I used to years and years ago do a meditation that was connecting my heartbeat to the heartbeat of the universe. Feel the heartbeat of the trees around you, or the heartbeat of the sun, or the heartbeat of wherever you happen to sit, if you can get outside in nature. Simply add some spark to your daily life. What if you just turned on a piece of music every day and danced in your kitchen? Can you feel how that just lightens things up? How that gets you a little bit, maybe not so much outside your comfort zone, but opens you to a new experience, breaks the routine, breaks the habit of being yourself. That's another Joe Dispenza line, right? There is always, always, always more than you know. It's my mission, my purpose, my message on the planet right now to open the doorway to a new possibility, to a new perception, so that you, every single person on the planet, or whoever can listen, is open to glimpsing a new possibility, to glimpsing a glimmer of their own greatness, and then to support them in embodying their own brilliance. And the more that we do that, and the more that we connect at that level, the more that we see and we begin to live in what we call the new humanity. And the more that we do that, the less we're impacted by the things we don't want. It's not about ignoring the trauma of the world, but it is about knowing that it's a moment in time, and the world and the reason that we're here and humanity itself will continue. The planet Earth will continue. It's not about discounting or diminishing people's pain, but it's about choosing where we put our awareness, because wherever we put our awareness, we are going to get more of it. That's one of our basic New Thought principles. We all know it, but let's practice it in a new way. There's always more than you know. The way to discover that and experience that is to go beyond, to get outside your comfort zone. Comfort zones can create ruts. Step outside to live your life fully and fulfilled. Let's take this into a time of meditation and see what we can discover. So take a breath in. And when you're ready, close your outer eyes and just feel, just sense, just bring everything that I've said. Notice what you notice. How is this pushing up for you? How is this igniting something in you? How is this inspiring you? Or where are you resistant to it? And as you notice that, simply let it be. And we call forth and we activate the energy, the awareness of a childlike energy of innocence and curiosity. As you do that, move from your head, your thought, down into your body, into your heart. And we move through our meditation from the mundane to the magical. Feel your mind opening, feel your heart opening. And choose to serve your heart and the heart of the universe in love, truth, and wisdom. Come with me on a journey and find yourself in a forest. As you're walking down the path, you come to a fork. Look around and see the trees, the ground cover, the sky, the sun, the breeze. And choose one of the forks. Follow that path for a bit and come into a clearing. And in this clearing, you discover a great big circle. It's bright. Don't enter it quite yet, but look at it. It's certainly big enough to step into. And as you explore and consider this circle, you realize that this circle, by actually stepping into this circle, you will be stepping outside of your comfort zone. And so in a moment, I'll invite you to step in. And when you do that, notice how it feels to go beyond your comfort zone and into delight, into an expansive new place. So when you're ready, step into this circle. As you step in, you're actually moving beyond your comfort zone. So step into that circle and notice what you notice. What do you see or sense or feel? And inside this circle, consider that you find the new humanity now. And in that, you discover a world of innovation, collaboration, beauty, brilliance, joy, creativity. Look and see if you find contentment or fulfillment or a sense of joy. Notice that in this space, just outside your comfort zone, you can find freedom from the past and excitement in the new. And as you look around one more time in this circle, just beyond your comfort zone, discover or choose one specific thing that you can do today to step outside your comfort zone in order to live your life more fully and more fulfilled. What is that one thing? Just choose one. Let it be simple. Make that commitment to yourself. Identify it Choose it. Take a few deep breaths. And when you're ready, step out of the circle, out of the forest, and find yourself right back in this now moment, in this very room. And together we come into gratitude. Gratitude, saying thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. And so we let it be. And so together we choose to never waste another minute of our lives inside that comfort zone when we can step out consciously anytime we choose. And so it is. Thank you, God. Amen.